Hello Fun Army and welcome back to Life and Other Circus Skills. This week we are on to another make and with it being so close to December I thought it would be nice to have a little festive zhuzh moment. It came from the fact that I was like, oh, you know, it's been a really crappy few years. Really crappy. And I love Christmas and all things festive. This year's still going to be a little bit restrained versus previous years, but I was like, okay, I wrote a list of if I could do everything I wanted, no restrictions on, you know, money or time or space or anything like that, what would I want to do? And a big theme on that list was, you know, dressing up in festive wear. And I don't actually, surprisingly, have a big collection of festive wear. I've basically kind of got like a Santa hoodie and some festive socks, which are pretty awesome. But actually, that's about it these days. Every year I do look for, like, are there any really cool Christmas jumpers? And do you know what? I never find any. So if you know of a place where you can get really cool festive jumpers, please let me know, because I'm just fed up of the shitty selection of festive jumpers available to me. So that aside, I decided to think about festive footwear. I was like, ooh, what if I could make myself some elf boots? Obviously, like, making a full-on wearable outside boot, quite difficile. So I did ponder initially about should I make some boot covers maybe for my normal boots. But I also didn't really want to buy anything new, and I think I would want a certain type of fabric and accessories for doing that. So I thought, what if I made them so they're kind of like slipper style, so I can just wear them around the house, especially as I'm not going to be going out as much as I normally would at this time of year. So I've collected materials. So I've got like some felt, and also like some normal material. Cotton, it's called cotton. Oh god. And some festive cotton. So what I was thinking I might do is have like a felt outer and maybe then line it with some cotton. So sort of almost do it in a similar way to the way I did my slippers when I made those, where I haven't got it in my pile, but have like a quite thick grippy sole, and then put some foam in the bottom, and then maybe have some wadding inside the outside, in between the felt and the lining layer, so that they're sort of quite squishy but look really nice and elven from the outside. That was really not the best description of what I'm going to try and do, so as we go I will explain. I've obviously got, from when I made the slippers, I've got the template already for the bottom of a shoe, so I think my next step will be to draw like you're supposed to understand that this means elf shoe shape. So, you know, little pointy toe and whatnot. The only thing I need to figure out is how to make that large enough to encompass being stuffed with wadding once I've sewn it all together. And as always, I have to figure out the ordering of, okay, you've got the top layer and you've got the bottom layer. The bottom layer is going to have foam in it. The top layer is going to have wadding in it. There's going to be an inside and an outside for both of those things. So I need to have like the right and wrong sides together at the right time. I also need to make sure I've left enough space to slip my foot in. That will be the key. Oh, yeah, because it's felt. I could, like, I guess sew a little drawstringy thing. Or elastic. Oh no. Just the thought of elastic. That's one step too far, too complicated. Like, I guess it doesn't matter if it's tight around the ankle. The main thing is to be able to get the foot in and out without destroying the creation, and then it stays on your feet as you're waddling about. Maybe I'll make the pattern, cut one out, and then test to see how much room it leaves. because again, I've got to remember that I'm leaving room for both seam allowance, it being lined, and then stuffed. So yeah, 1 or 2 things to remember and think about. I'm sure it's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. We've got this. We'll figure it out as we go, as we always do. So, plan B, I cut out 2 lovely little elf boots out of the felt, and then realised I needed another 2 because I'm making 2 shoes. And I only have enough felt for 3 pieces. So, it's fine. This would be a perfect example of really just thinking things through before you start cutting stuff. However, I went back to the drawing board and had a ponder, and I've gone back to some cotton fabric because I was planning to stuff it either way. I think it's going to be okay, and that sort of just cemented in my mind that I was going to do the lining as well. And has actually then given me a new way of doing the trim that I was going to do around the top. So this is what we have. So basically I've got, I'm going to do this without dropping them, an outside and another outside, and then 2 red ones on the inside to line it. And then what we'll do is, as long as I sew it right and, you know, don't sew up the opening as is standard, then ultimately it'll get folded over like that. Like so. And then the tootsies will go in there. So this is basically then top and sides. And I've got 2 of those for 2 whole shoes for 2 whole feet. So what's next is that we need to make the bottoms. So what I'm planning to do is use this fabric to do like a strip, I guess about that wide, which will effectively attach the sides to the bottom. And then on the bottom I'm going to have the thick white fabric, and then as I did with the slippers, I'll basically sandwich between 2 layers of thick white fabric. Oh no. Old man death. Yes, between two layers of the thick white fabric, piece of cardboard for stability on the bottom, then a layer of foam, and then the other white layer, which becomes sort of the thing that your foot goes on the inside. This will make more sense when we get to it. So yes, those are the next steps really. Is so I've got, as I said before, my old template from the slippers, but I need to adjust the shape a little bit, because obviously where the elf shoe will go up at the front, you sort of need like a triangle of fabric in that toe bit to come up and meet it. So I think it can still be potentially the same length. I might need to make it a wee bit longer, because this is basically just about the right size for the old slippers. So yeah, if I make it a wee bit longer and then make it come into a point, then that should be okay. I've just got to figure out the logistics again of what I sew at what point, and when you turn it right way out, etc. And how long this strip needs to be. So fortunately, this is quite long, but it ultimately needs to be big enough to wrap all the way around the shoe. It's all good in theory. But yeah, as per the felt plan A, it's quite difficult when I can't see all the steps in my head at once. And I do try to take one at a time, but when you take one at a time and you haven't thought the whole thing out, that's when you end up realizing you don't have enough fabric for what you need. So, oh God, yeah. I'm just gonna give it a crack and see what happens. So I'm just now gonna measure around the circumference of one of these, and that will give me the rough length I need for this fabric for the band. But if you, and actually I can't remember if I explained this when I made the slippers because it was so long ago now, but actually it doesn't really matter if this is too long, because the way you sew it together, you sort of get to the bit where your loop meets at the back of the heel, and then you stop and you sew in a different direction. It's the best way I can explain it. So you sort of sew all the way around, so it's attached the full loop, and then you sew up to attach those side pieces together, and then you can just trim off the excess, and then you would turn it out. And then you would turn it the other way out anyway, so any excess isn't seen because it's on the inside, effectively the ultimate inside, and it goes in with the firm to be your support piece for your foot. So that's next, and then is that it? So we've got two tops and linings, two tops, sides and linings. These white ones are the bottom bits. This is going to go around the side. Yeah, I think that's it. Because you basically, as with the slipper, make the top part separately, make the bottom part separately, then you sew the two things together and stuff. Obviously remembering to leave gaps for stuffing. So I think that's it. And then it's on to ironing, everyone's favourite job. I think. I've got that ominous feeling that I've forgotten something. I'm sure it'll soon come up as soon as I notice that I've forgotten something, but otherwise I think that's it. Okay, so this might be a bad idea, but I've decided to sew 4 layers at once. I was going to do 2 and 2, and then I kind of felt I couldn't be asked, and also that I might then be losing more space than I need to, because of all the folding inside, outside, etc. So at the moment I've got the 2 inside lining pieces, the red sides on the outside, and then the outside green bits on the inside, so we're effectively right sides together. Then this is where it gets complicated with doing all 4 together. I need to not sew up the top, and so about halfway down here around to the toe, and then just around the toe piece probably to about here, and then starting about here just down to sort of roughly where the heel is, because of course I've got to join this to the bottom at some point, so we don't want to sew up the bottom bits at this point in time. I think, and I don't know if this is the exact next step or whether I will do this later, but then we will go 2 and 2, because then we need to sew the top bits to each other, so lining to outside, so that when it's turned right way out, it folds out and it has a nice edge. That bit I'm slightly scared about doing it wrong, so I'm just going to start with the bits that I think I have correct. I'm just going to do it with this one shoe, try it, see if I've done it right as I thought it was in my head, and then go from there. Wish me luck! Okay, so I've sewn those bits I said I was going to sew. Shall we try turning it the right way out and see? I'm scared. Okay, 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 okay. Look, top of a boot, great, okay. I might not poke this all the way out fully because I'm probably going to need to turn it back inside out again. I haven't quite figured out how we're attaching top to bottom yet. I need to get my brain around that. So let's assume I've poked that all the way through. Life. Okay, so, oh my god, it won't stop rolling inwards. Stay. Okay. It's a boot. And then these bits would flap down like so. Sure. I think that looks cute. If it was stay where I'm trying to make it stay. So that theory worked. What do I do next? The same on the other boot. Okay, that is the second boot done. Now I think I'm gonna do the flappy bits. I don't know what to call this. The bit that will fold over when it's the other way around. So I basically just need to sort of separate it and then just complete the shape, but just with the two and then with the two. So again, I'm going to do it on one boot, check that it works, and then do it on the other one. So I realised that actually I can't sew it the way I was planning to, and I needed to top stitch it and basically make a mini hem. Otherwise I wasn't going to have a nice neat edge unless I introduced another piece of fabric, which again I can't quite be asked to do at this point in time. So I've just done it on the one side for now because I just wanted to again check that it worked. So let's turn it inside out, or right way out. Okay. Just going to go this far for now. So as you can see, when I turn it right way out, there's like a mini hem happening. So then if I flip it, sure it'll look better when I've done the other side as well. There we go, nice neat edge, little flappy. I've got to figure out what it's called. The flappy bit. Wings. I don't know. Somebody tell me. Alrighty, so we're hitting the bottom. So I've basically got, this is the outside of the bottom, floofy on the inside, and then this is the strip that's basically going to be the joining bit between top and bottom, in theory. Well, it isn't. Because I've got like, basically, the idea is that we have, and it's hard to show you this because this is pinned right side to right side right now, but basically there will be, actually let's do it this way. So this will be like a little sandwich, a little Christmas sandwich, and then the foam will go inside here for squishiness, and then we sew the top of this to the bottom of, oh, I don't know if you can even see these now, bottom of the elfic booty bit. I hope. So we're going to try and see what happens. So here we go, elf shoe bottom. So far so good. So the question now is, what order everything else happens in now? So I think the top's going to need to go on, but then if I don't sew up the back, then I should be able to sew this bit to this bit, and that's the bit that's scary. So I'm going to pin this up, try and remember not to sew around the bottom because that's going to be a hand sewing thing afterwards, and then see where we are. Wah, wah, wah. So. Bloop, 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 bloop. Smooth. Smooth transition right here. Yay! Super cute. There we go. So, the foam is going to go in here, but we won't do that until we've sewn the two bits together. So I think, because I'm not really sure at this point in time how this is going to go, I think I might continue going with this one and try and figure this out and then do the other one. Oh, it's hard. It's so hard. Yeah, I'm gonna try. Yes! I'm going to try and figure it out. Because it needs to end up this way out and on here. It just doesn't look like it matches right now, so that's also going to be fun. I'm going to pin it and then it'll be fine. Yeah. Pinning solves everything. Oh my god. So, I've stabbed myself and unpicked a lot of things. And this, I think, now is plan C. So, plan C. Na-na. And you're like, why is it red right now, Rosie? This is because this is inside out. And once I've sewn it all up, it will go the other way round. So here's the bottom and the side and the top. So basically, I unpicked all but the back bit of the boot and then pinned it round to attach. Because I think the problem was, where I like pre-sewn it, it caused so much tension, there wasn't enough room to manoeuvre to get it onto the bottom. As it is, it still might make things a little bit tight when we turn it back round. And obviously at the moment, the flap for putting the foam in is on the outside on the bottom, so that will then be on the inside. So it'll be basically like in the base of the foot, which ain't no bad thing. But it might be a bit more scrumpled than it is right now. So I think, to be honest, it is still gonna be a test case. I think part of the issue is I've overflounced it. I've overflounced it. And it comes back to maybe if I'd had enough of the felt in the first place, we wouldn't have gotten this far. I still think, to be honest, like the way I've done the bottom is overflouncing it a little bit. Like if I just had one of these, and I did almost think like, oh, should I just relent and just like sew to one of these? I'm not ruling it out. If I can't get this to work satisfactorily, then I maybe will just relent and then maybe try and just create some squishiness on the inside. But I don't see why this shouldn't work. It's just whether there's enough room for getting your foot in and out. So at the moment I've left it quite low, and maybe I shouldn't sew up this front bit too much until I've tested turning it the right way out and getting the foot in. Because it may need like, well, the thing is, like, it'll be flapped over, right? Oh, hang on. See if I don't stab my foot with this. Oh, oh, oh. Okay, it is quite tight, but I can feel pins in my foot. But, ow! This is what it's gonna look like. It's gonna be fine. No, okay, so that's... Okay, that's confirmed. I should probably just not sew too far up the front until I'm satisfied with where that stops, and then I can just hand sew that to the right point. That's fine. And obviously it'll be a bit easier when there aren't pins going into my foot. But I'm excited. I feel like I'm now much closer to where I'm trying to get to, rather than where we were at the previous iteration. I'm not gonna lie, I was despairing. I was despairing. I had a little strop. So I'm feeling less stroppy and like I can maybe get a good night's sleep after this. Like I have to stop now. So yeah, that's where we are. I'll see you on the other side. So I'm a little bit nervous, but I'm going in. I'm gonna do it. So if we come from one side of the heel, up the front, stop. Yeah, and then we just... it stopped me for a minute. And then we'll just have to start at the other side of the front and come around back to the heel. Or start at the heel on that side and come around the front. I'll see how I feel when I get there. Okay, I've sewn it. It was more difficult than I planned. So I've ended up like cutting off some of the space I created for the foam. But I'm hoping that's not going to make a difference because it's going to be on the inside anyway. So we're going to turn it. Misshapen right now, but there's no padding and no foot. Or shall I try my foot in it? There are a few bits as well where I need to actually do a bit of hand sewing because I've missed. But this front bit is a lot better than it was the last time I tried, so let's put a foot in. I've obviously left a lot more space for putting a foot in this time. Hey! So it'll look kind of like that. Kind of. Can you see that? Oh. I'm basically going to play about with this one and see if it works the way I want it to, like with the stuffing and whatnot. And the foam. So you can see there's quite a lot of space there for foot padding. And then we've got these final seams to sew up. I don't know. I literally don't know at this point. Test one was, is there room for the foot? Which there is. Does it roughly look like an elf shoe? It does. I'm not sure I'm executing it as well as I want to, and that's annoying, but I think we're close. So maybe I'll finish up the seams and then go into the padding. And then see if we can make it look like a shoe and not like a rumpled piece of blur on my foot. Okay, so I've sewed up the little bits that were hanging, and then I've just, as you can tell, I've just pressed down the top part of the overflaps. And next up then is to put the foam in here and start stuffing the toe, and then just make sure I've got enough room for my foot. And then just add in as much extra padding as needed. And then we're just going to do the final hemming on these bits, and that should be that for this foot. Then we've got to repeat it all on the other foot. But I did quite a lot of prep work yesterday, so hopefully it won't take too long. So yeah, let's get foaming! Okay, so the stuffing has been somewhat painful because obviously the fabric's quite thin. Just trying to get the shape has been quite difficult, but I think I'm as there as it's gonna get, basically. So, yeah. It's not the neatest thing I've ever done, but here it is. So then it's literally just a case of sorting these bits out. I should also tell you I've got quite a lot of cardboard in here now. Well, you can probably see it there actually, yeah, cardboard. Just try and make it a bit more stable because it was just getting lumpy, and it's still slightly lumpy. It's better with a foot in it. Hang on, tell you what, I'll put a foot in and show you. There we go.
because you can pull everything up around the foot, you see, so yeah, I just now need to sew down the old flaps and then start on the second foot. It's definitely taking longer than I would like. I'm rapidly losing patience. So fingers crossed everything goes well with the second one and then we are done. So I'm not gonna lie, this one was hard. But I have finished the second shoe boot. I'm gonna call it a slipper. I feel like they've just come out like slippers, which is great for keeping my feet toasty, and I can never complain about that. But yeah, I found this one quite hard. I maybe should have found something to follow, or should have got enough felt. I think the compromises I had to make are what made it go wobbly, and I didn't really have what I needed to make it work. So yeah, I'm not really sure if I've come out on top of this, aside from having toasty warm feet. But it's all a learning process, and I'm ultimately glad that I gave it a go. So I'm still gonna do a reveal, because they're squishy and floofy and fun, even if they are a bit weird and lumpy. So come on over and have a look.